Hey, everybody. Once again, this is Micah Lieberman with Scope, and I'm doing a Voices of Scope video, which is always like the best part of my day. Sometimes these happen at the end of a formal meeting. I'm like, hey, do you guys want to stay on and let's just talk about what we just talked about, but let's record it. So this is Brian Burkhardt. Many of you recognize Brian because he won the Participant Engagement Award at Scope a few years back when he was kind of new to pharma. That helped. That was a big deal. So Brian is the founder of the All of Our Patch Project. If you don't know it, check it out. Something new we'll talk about is also the Patchwork Collective. A totally new face is Andy Shepperd. So he's the co-founder and executive director of Project Outrun. And again, Brian pulled him into this. He's been to SCRS. Shout out to our friends at SCRS. He's coming to Scope Summit. So this is an exciting group. What they have in common is pediatric oncology, pediatric research. And they're a conduit between this world of families, caregivers, research, industry, and these communities, right? So, Brian, first of all, tell everybody what the Patchwork Collective is, what we're doing, and then I want Andy to jump in.
Perfect. Thank you again for having us here. It's super exciting. To give you guys a little background, when we were coming into, I started this conversation with Mike a while ago, and I said, hey, what do you guys do as far as advocacy is concerned? And he's like, well, let me tell you, we give out advocacy passes. And I said, great. What are you guys doing within the pediatric and in space? And I said, I have this concept and this thing that Andy and I have been working. So a little bit between Andy and I, we both have our amazing nonprofits that are running on a national and global level. We've reached thousands of families. We have the families, we have the stories, but I didn't understand, like, within the clinical trial world, they don't know any of these stories, right? So I told Andy, you have to meet this amazing group of people. That's how we started with originally with the SCRS, and now realizing that we have a huge place at the table. But what we also realized, and me walking around, whether it's ASCO or any of the shows, is that there wasn't really much pediatric representation. And Andy and I collaborated on a bunch of different projects, and we realized that when we work together, we're so much stronger, right? And that's the true meaning of collaboration. So I was like, Andy, we have to make sure, like, we have an advocate voice. Like, we need to represent the pediatric advocacy, community, and also like organizations that are making a difference out there, together. And this is something that Andy and I started something called the Patchwork Collective. And the Patchwork Collective is really the gathering of different organizations, nonprofits in the pediatric space that are really making a difference, whether it's through policy reform, whether it's through, research, whether it's through development, whether it's through support. There's so many different components. And what we did is we gathered 8 advocacy groups. Scope was amazing. They donated a space to us. They said, we care about this landscape, and we want to bring you guys in with open arms. And this, I'll be honest with you, and Andy, I'm going to let you talk, but the people that we're bringing in have never been to at all, ever. So
and
this is very exciting. Yeah,
that's important. Yeah. So thank you for calling that out, because Brian, I am so excited because I think these two groups, I'm just going to roughly say, all my friends in pharma and biotech, CRO world, research world, all of your people, they want to meet each other. So if I could be that conduit, win, 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 win. So I'm so happy you helped make this happen. Andy, jump in. People don't know you, and you're new to us as well. So introduce yourself. Let's talk, man.
So my name is Andy Shepperd. I run an organization called Project Outrun. We impact and inspire kids and families battling pediatric cancer all over the country. We do it in a really unique way. We use shoes and swag to support families in the fight. So kids get to design their own shoes, own colors, own messages, whatever empowers them down their recovery road. From that, so many adjacents have popped up. We celebrate finish line festivals, end of treatments. We do all kinds of things within programming that I can't wait to share at Scope with so many of the amazing people within the pharmaceutical industry. The thing was, like what Brian said, like I had absolutely no idea what my place or my space would be like within the pharma world. But when he took me to SCRS, I began to realize that the people that we may all view a certain way within industry were the people that were working the hardest to find solutions for our families. And that's when, because to me, the most important thing is realizing we're on the same team. So from that, I was able to gain a wealth of information to take back to my families in terms of just like questions to ask upon diagnosis, which has such value. Because anytime I can extract value and place that in the hand.
Andy froze.
He's moving too much.
But you know what? We don't edit these, man. This is live TV. This is like Saturday Night Live.
You know, and it's interesting, Michael, because what you don't know about Andy is like he's has over 9,000 families that he's working with. Like we have a giant community out there. So okay, sorry, Andy, I was covering for you.
Oh yeah, Andy, I'm just saying we're live, man. We're still going. You keep going.
No worries. So yeah, so again, like understanding our place in our space and giving a voice to our families, because I see the disconnect between pharma and families, and it felt like the only way to get there was through collaboration. So Brian and I have seen the power of what happens when we come together. We thought, what if we can unite and unify all these amazing organizations from all across the United States, all doing different work within the pediatric oncology space. And then we can take that presence to Scope and create an atmosphere for conversation and dialogue to not only provide opportunities to support our base programming, because we believe that the disconnect will only be resolved through trust. And trust comes through time and commitment. That's why my families that I've worked with for 9 years, I could call them tomorrow and ask them to do anything to support us, and they would jump to it, right? Because we've invested time and
we
trust.
built those relationships, right?
That's it. So we feel ecstatic. I've already seen, like, just from coming with Brian and starting the conversation with doing different activations with different pharmaceutical companies and engaging and telling we call them shoe stories. And we have a really great shoe story to share at Scope about a family that we impacted, not only their daughter, but also their dad, who both had cancer stories, and he was in a trial. And from being at SCRS, I was able to say, like, when I tell this shoe story, I'm going to pull the information that I know that is important to your community. So it's called the Always Forward Shoe Story, because we believe that we need to push this conversation forward. What can we do to drive solutions for our families? Because solutions within the pharmaceutical world translate to solutions for our families. So again, unifying, connecting, and collaborating.
Yeah, I'm having an emotional response, but I want to say that, like, it's touching, but it's more than touching. It's really important. You said something, again, my audience, people watching this are friends in clinical research, but you said something. A lot of your community, there was a lack of trust with pharma. We know that pharma there's a negative impression, and that's a huge burden to overcome for. It's really a bummer, because there's this amazing research happening, and we're trying to connect. Everybody's trying to connect the people in need with the cutting edge medicines, right? Everybody wants the same thing. And so Andy, I know we're like almost out of time, but I want you to tell me like a little bit just about that journey from it being foreign to you.
Yeah.
You knew families, the concept of, all of that, but research was a stranger to you. That was a new thing. And you had your own impressions of pharma. And then you started meeting these people doing the work, the people that are at Scope.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of
people that would come because we had our amazing shoes and our shoe stories and our kids that have reached cancer finish lines on a table, and the people that were coming up to me were sharing their testimonials about their mom who had passed, their dad who was a survivor, that they understood how powerful this would be when they were young. Their best friend had cancer, and they wish that they could have had this programming. You started to see it was humanizing, right? Like I would say, like it was taking the clinical out of the trial. It was making the trial was about the hope and the heart. And I was like, this is a different picture than I thought it was. And that's when it turned on its head. And I said, there's a disconnect. So how do we connect? And thus the Patchwork Collective was born.
All right. That's a good sum up, you guys. We're out of time. Your booth is going to be 110 at Scope. Everybody from
Patchwork Collective, baby.
Don't see us.
Yeah, whether you're involved in pediatric research or not, check them out and refer your friends at your company, at your biotech, your pharma, your CRO to them. When Scope is over, they are still there doing good work. Thanks, Andy. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.